I don't feel that the industry at large has really grasped the disruption that it's going to bring onto brand search.
It's going to be groundbreaking.
If we want to truly understand and impact the way change the ways of working, we want to look inwards and we want to do deep and narrow, which is function by function.
Companies go horizontal and they don't go deep enough. Reckitt has gone beyond piloting with AI. You guys are building platforms, being adopted and engaged. You really got to explain it really well for me, because putting all these tested data in there and getting the contextual output for the user and then also bringing category dynamics, it only can be done by the expert of the company, expert of the business. You cannot adapt it from an external partner.
You can't, and don't get me wrong, like we have an ecosystem of partners helping us doing that.
Right.
But the match of AI expertise and functional expertise so that you can capture the thought process and make it a systematic approach into a solution is really the crux of it for us.
So this is great for external process. You're generating content, you're generating marketing, media messaging for the consumer. How about product development? Are you also using the platform for R&D, NPD?
So this is actually, first and foremost for us, we've actually looked inwards first.
Okay.
So mostly at internal processes, because we felt that this is the hardest to solve for, and we feel solved for that. The creative process with agencies, we can definitely work on that. We can work on potentially creating apps for consumers and so on, but we really focus on reinventing internal function.
Are your agency partners also using the platform, Insights Engine?
No, this is mostly for us. Now we are working with partners to make sure that we can test. So how do you accelerate the testing of your product concept?
And you cross-check, you cross-validate?
We had a lot of proof points already that an augmented concept, an AI augmented concept, versus what we used to do without those tools, can have a Nielsen-based test pass rate, for instance, that is twice as much as what we used to have.
Oh
so
boy.
I have many proof points that these actually work. And I insist on the AI augmented, because the approach we've taken is that we want a human to use those solutions to get better, faster, more iteration, better decision. We don't want to replace how our humans are making decisions and actually go about it.
Of course, it's not there yet. But then it opens up another conversation, because now once you build these platforms and once you create the autonomous workflows, there is hundreds of solutions in any tech stack ecosystem you can build and deploy, or you can consolidate.
Yeah.
So which direction are you going now, industry-wise? You don't need to tell me Reckitt-wise. Are you consolidating or are you expanding in terms of tech stack solutions and deployments?
I think twofold answer. I think the direction is to consolidate.
Okay.
I think the direction is, and it's not, at least I know from my past 3 experiences where there was Nestlé, Renault, and now Reckitt, I have done a lot of work to simplify and consolidate.
Chopping the tech solutions from the stack.
And there's a nice way to say unbundle,
right?
Which is a nice way to say extracting the components that you really need, simplifying the ones that you don't, and also like generating investment from that, right? Because there's a lot of complexity that was brought by us and onto us as well. And so consolidating and simplifying is one. The second part of my answer is, I don't know if it's not consolidating and simplifying, but maybe it's a different approach, which is, I also think that where you think you have a competitive advantage, be it because of the data that you have or the way you combine it or the functional knowledge that you have, we have a lot more opportunities to build out of where the data is sitting, for instance. And so we're doing.
If it's giving you competitive advantage with your expertise, of course, build and deploy.
Just do it.
And you describe the tower of data, and the more data you bring into the engine, then the 5 hours bringing even more outcome.
And I think this is I am mentioning that because for me it has shifted a little bit, because if I look back a certain number of years, building was taking a lot of effort, a lot of resources in terms of development and so on. I think what now with your data sitting on Azure or on Google Cloud or on AWS, you already have a lot more components than you have other partners like Databricks and so on, who are helping you a lot faster to iterate, build, and actually test and scale.
Yeah, that process shortened and fastened a lot.
Yeah.
So I'll bring it to another sexy topic.
Yeah.
because now marketing teams, media teams, they're all talking about, okay, where are we going to get the investment back? Where are we going to make the media money work better for us, right?
Yeah.
Because of AI. And we talked about this in our break. Now, of course, retail media has reached its plateau almost. The frenzy is almost over. Now everybody has a much better understanding. Now we have different type of media. Now the media and click to the cart happens at the LLM level or GPT level, right? You call it GEO,
Yeah.
there is AEO, there are many acronyms
Yeah.
flying now. Where do you see the Reckitt's paid media efforts being impacted, being benefited by those AI capabilities? Or industry-wise, again?
It's a really good question, and this is probably the one where I have opinions, but maybe a less strong as the one I had on AI.
Okay.
First, I think this is a massive disruption that, I don't know, when I'm going into events where I see other peers and so on, I don't feel that the industry at large has really grasped the disruption that it's going to bring onto brand search.
It's going to be groundbreaking.
It's a massive disruption. I think even higher than when it was on search engine and the optimization and what it took, because I think it's more opaque on what is necessary to actually be there into the GPTs.
Mm-hmm.
So I think first, I don't think the industry has grabbed is providing the attention is necessary to actually understand the disruption here. That's one. Second one is, I think for CPGs that maybe what is a little bit more challenging is that it's going to be probably harder to have a direct partnership like Walmart or Etsy have been doing, the one selling direct with the likes of OpenAI. I'm sure there's going to be some sense of partnerships and so on, but in the end, I think it's going to go two ways, right? It's going to go, how do you make sure that you really own your category?
Now, digital shelf and display got even smaller.
We went from a search page with, like we talked at the time, like a long time ago, 3 pages where you're still visible, to 1 page. It's now on 1 page, you're not even there, but there might be one.
First
I'm
2
not even
rows.
sure if there's one search result on
Right.
the first Google page now, if you're AI enabled, right? So we went to like the share here that you can get is extremely small. And so on GPT, you're gonna ask like, what's the best wipe to clean my coffee table, which is a very generic question. You're going to get what, 1 or 2 answers?
Yes.
You're going to get the shopping feature at some point. I'm sure it's going to get monetized, so some of the paid media is going to shift there. But until you get there, our visibility is going to be to own the space. So I remember the time we used to talk about content territories. And so probably we'll get back to that a little bit. And then through partnership with retailers, I think you see the Walmart partnership. And so how do we make sure that there is the proper visibility and there is a real partnership to make sure you go through those as they get into the GPT.
Retailers will experience a squeeze a lot too, because there won't be many retailers listed anymore.
And the space they're going to get into being listed there is going to get smaller as well.
And
so I do expect the premium coming from that.
I agree with you. And I'm curious to see how much retailers will have to build this clout to be able to shown as the ultimate medium to buy. Because shoppers, just like we get used to those things really rapidly, I don't think it's going to be shrinkage on the people going onto their membership, going onto their retailer page just for looking for products anymore. So there will be a lot of traffic diversification.
Yeah, I think what probably, I agree. I think probably what we saw, like some traffic moving out from Google to going to Amazon directly.
Right.
And now we're probably going to see some traffic coming from both going into GPT.
A marketer just shared it last week. And right now, OpenAI GPT is number 2 purchasable product traffic between Amazon and Walmart.
And how many results you get there. So that's a massive disruption, and you really need to own your category if you want to be there, because the question doesn't start from an angle of transaction only. The questions usually start from an angle of the category overall.
Okay, then let me bring the lawmaker inside me for all the people caring about the future, ethical, responsible AI. How are we going to balance ethical AI usage with this fast growth in the organization and also for consumer protection? Because consumer will get benefit, but I think they will also experiment some kind of limitations as well.
Yeah.
How is it going to be played out?
So first, I mean, I'll talk with the angle of
let's look at the
Reckitt.
company-wise.
We are a European-based company.
Oh, good luck with that.
So there are some regulations already coming in that are trying to do same as GDPR on consumer data and so on, that are trying to regulate how it's being used from a consumer angle and also how data is being safely stored and all of this. So this is one angle. what we've done is that we took the regulations coming up, we took some of the policies that we had so we had a policy around consumer principles, we had policies around data, and we took some of those and we say, okay, we actually ask ourselves, how do we translate that into a responsible AI policy, framework, and governance and processes?
Okay.
And so, I mean, I could go on for a long time on that one, but basically what it means is, what do we allow ourselves to do with AI or not? For instance, in creativity, the key question that I'm sure is in every brand's head right now is, do you allow yourself to actually recreate a human or not?
Yeah, good question, yeah.
So that's those type of questions. We've had a long list of questions. And then we said into the governance and process, what do we believe is responsible AI? Again, influenced by the outside-in perspective of responsible AI frameworks. I mean, there's the I have the name in French, but OCDE, I think, framework for it. And basically, we use that to be a guiding framework for us on the question we want to ask for Reckitt. We turn that into a process. I'm going to give you an example. And then that process is every single time we think about developing an AI capability, we stress test that AI capability through that process.
Okay.
For instance, one point in the process would be for HR solutions, and we had the case actually.
Interesting.
For a solution to look at candidate profiles, how does this solution, so that was in that case an outside-in solution, how does that solution, AI capability, actually look for bias? And can we at Reckitt understand how does it do that so that we can say actually we are okay because we would be making sure to mitigate for bias the same way or not? It happens that the explainability of how it was looking for bias into that specific solution was not enough, so we ended up not using it.
That's a perfect litmus test.
And I think this is what companies need to do. Every company has a responsibility to define what is responsible AI for them, of course influenced by regulatory framework or other things, and then really putting it in practice so that you don't have on one way we have a framework, and on the other way, you always get only excited by new AI capabilities. Those two needs to match together.
Right, otherwise it's easy to get indulged.
Absolutely.
Both on the individual level and company level.
Absolutely, and so we actually train, I think your point on individual level is really important. We train on basic level of responsible AI, about a few thousand people actually. And then we created a community that is more the community that is able to take through this stress test. And we have about 250 people who are actually aware of that process and know how to take a solution through it.
So they're the guardrails or safeguards of the system.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. And it's human contact, human checkpoint.
It is.
It has to be.
It is because again, on the bias piece, it's also a bit of a judgment and making sure you make the connection to your own internal policy.
But now, okay, I'm going through a reality check by myself because what you show me, now what you're telling me, and what I'm trying to put them on a list, your team and Reckitt has gone beyond piloting with AI. You guys are building platforms, being adopted and engaged. Then my question to me and to you would be, you saw our maturity framework, you saw our maturity analysis. I mean, we look at only 35 companies. We need more resources, we need more data to look broader than that. But many companies, percentage-wise, I would say 70%, are still piloting.
Yeah.
So how did your team and how Reckitt leadership develop this? Okay, guys, we're going to build platforms, we're going to deploy, and we're going to adopt them. It's a huge strategy decision.
It's a leap of faith.
Can you give us a little bit of insight? How did it happen? Because not every company is able to do it, even 2025.
So we started that end of 23. And when we started, we actually, very realistically, we said, when I say we, so that was that was myself with a few of our leaders as well. And we said, on AI, what do we think we are on traditional AI, machine learning, right?
Right.
And we had a lot of things, but point solutions here on supply, on marketing, and so on. But we didn't really feel we were ahead of the game, or we maybe not even on par, right? And we asked ourselves, now that Gen AI is coming combined with AI, can we do something differently here? And so at that time we say, well, probably we scratch our heads and we said the way to do it differently is probably to go, we just had an article published in one of the magazines about deep and narrow.
Okay.
And so what it means is that we said, if we want to extract the value out of it, if we want to truly understand and impact the way it changed the ways of working, we want to look inwards and we want to do deep and narrow, which is function by function.
That's
So
the
how do we-
distinction. Instead of going
Yes.
horizontal but shallow, you went deep and narrow.
We went, how could we reinvent ways of doing things with AI and GenAI combined in marketing? Now we're looking at how do we do that in R&D? How do we do that in supply? And so I think that's the trick.
Yeah, many companies go horizontal and they don't go deep enough.
And maybe it works for many companies, but
see.
we also tested copilots across everyone and so on, and I think no one is getting any results.
Right.
And also no one is getting any results because it's very difficult when you throw that to everyone horizontally. It's very difficult to see where is the value coming from. When you reinvent your work process, you can better look at where is the value coming from and how do you drive more value.
Because it's confined and you can measure the impact.
And that's that was the selling point, I think, and where we really got everyone on board to actually go after that. And that's what in turn gave us the scale to invest into platform, more synergies, doing better for the next function, and so on and so forth.
That's fascinating, and that's really unlocking moment for me because I'm a data guy. I like measurement and reporting, but now I realize that this study you brought at the organization or supported as a leadership division makes all difference because I've been in many pilots, you've been in many pilots, and nobody adopts them after 6 months, and nobody is able to measure the impact, and then everybody says that why should I bother? And then it's waste of money and time. Okay, perfect.
And don't get me wrong, it is even more challenging, right? Because a pilot that you don't adopt is a pilot, you drop it and you move to something else. But then when you want to build a platform for scale, it means that the challenge is not the stop of it. Challenge is something you need to overcome. How do you bring a better level of insight? How do you change your solution? How do you adapt to agentic workflows now? So it's actually, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint.
Because otherwise there are hundreds of sexy, shiny objects. You can keep jumping from one another.
For me, the key enemy of AI enterprise adoption is FOMO.
Of course. Now, wow, we already covered the agentic commerce in one of my previous conversations. That topic is endless for now, but now I want you to, you're already future looking, I gotta give you that. And I'm really happy and privileged to meet you in person because now I realize that, it takes a little bit guts, it takes a little bit vision to build those capabilities in a very dusty, very chaotic environment like now. But I want you to look even further if you want, and if you want to share. Where do you see this nascent journey going towards? Are we going to be handing over our commercial experiences to our agents as a consumer? Or are you seeing companies adopting more autonomous workflows for decision making and people are just checking points? I'm just making it up. There are dozens of options. Where do you see we're going?
That's a tough one. Because predictions in those spaces are never good.
I know. Okay.
Except if you make it 3 months ahead and that's it. But I'm still going to take a leap of faith and try. I do think consumers, I mean, whether we call it agent or not, I mean, we start to see already, and you mentioned some data points on searches related to shopping that are getting more and more in GPT.
Right.
So I do think that will get a lot more automated through AI at some point. And I think if the consumers are doing that, it's going to push us
to follow the lead.
To have to find a way with our customers as well, right? So I think that maybe, and we were discussing today actually about that. I think first there will be a very interesting ecosystem of agents in the back.
Right.
When you think of maybe at some point agent to agent will start to come to life. And if you think of our customers, if we have an agent that is really enabling to provide some insights that we have, to give that to our customers by an agent and agent communication, maybe that will help them in turn to actually sell more within their category, but hopefully for our brands as well. So I think that there might be an ecosystem, I don't know if I'm making sense, but there may be an ecosystem that starts to create that.
No, I see that. As a consumer, I would also perceive this information more genuine rather than marketing message. I would adapt it more willingly.
And which would be, again, more around the category, maybe less around us giving the message that we want and so on. So I think that's one. I think I do believe from a consumer perspective, a lot more things are going to get so fast. When you see how you use GPT for recommendation of a recipe or a travel plan and so on, I cannot see a future where you're going to go and fetch content on the internet manually, where you know that this can get into a few bullet points. And those will naturally change the way that we have to provide our answers and we have to showcase our products anyway. So I think that is going to be a massive disruption. what I don't know is how our brand, our content, how this needs to evolve exactly so that it lives into that future world. This is very, very difficult.
Personally,
to
I
predict.
think some of our shopping, some of our purchases, whether it's home, pantry, or travel, we won't even know until we receive the bag what's in the bag. We will come to that comfort level. That's my forecast.
I am convinced as well. We trust it. So I think it's just because the technology was not designed first to do those things, but we trusted, everyone is trusting a GPT to give you a travel plan. You don't question it.
Financial advice or business
or
advice.
Like, I have $1,000, I want to invest. How many people are doing that? And then you trust it.
Yeah.
Whether or not you should 100% trust it is another debate, because it confidently hallucinates in many cases, and I think that's a risk. But then trusting it for a transaction that is a commodity transaction, I think that's a given. Trusting it for a transaction that is maybe less of a commodity, I think it will take a bit more time, but I'm pretty convinced with you this will happen.
Okay, so we'll check each other's shopping bags, whether we get our favorite brand from Reckitt or not, maybe a few months from now.
I hope so, and it would mean that we've done the right job to be in those, in whatever is the GPT or the browser that you use, because now browser and GPTs are the same.
From what I see, from what you've shown me, I believe the insights engine your team built is gonna knock it out of the park. That's my feeling today.
I hope so. It's really helping us internally, so I hope so that we can turn the same type of technologies to help the consumers as well.
Well, Bastien, I appreciate the time. Time flew. I know you have a plane to catch, so I don't want to take you busy any longer, but I appreciate it, man. It was a great conversation.
Thank you. It was a great conversation. Loved it.
Thanks for chiming in, guys. E-commerce podcast with Bastien Parisot, CIO of Reckitt Global, hosting us here in the US headquarters of Reckitt. Until next time, stay ahead of the curve.
This episode is brought to you by Commerce Media Summit, a key event that will unite brands, agencies, and platforms to shape the future of commerce media for 2026. Excited to meet us at industry events next year? Scan the QR code to view the full event calendar kit.